Listen to me. Just because you failed, that don't mean it's over. Just because you slipped, that don't mean you stay down. I need you to get this fail. Yours not final unless you quit. You think success comes without bruises, without blood, without heartbreak. No, you gotta bleed for this. You gotta cry for this. You gotta want it bad enough to keep moving even when the world says you're done. They told you you're not good enough. They told you you'll never make it. And you believed it for a moment. But I'm here to tell you right now, your failure is not your identity. Your setback is not your story. That L you took, that wasn't a loss, that was a lesson. That was the universe saying, you're not ready yet, but if you show up again, if you grind again, if you believe again, then you're gonna be unstoppable. So don't fold, don't break, don't give up. Your pain is preparation. Your fall is foundation, because it's not about how hard you hit, it's about how many times you get back up swinging. Champions ain't perfect, they're just relentless. You ain't done, you're just getting started. Failure is feedback, not finality. Most people see failure as a dead end, a signal that it's time to stop. But the truth is, failure is just a message, it's information, it's instruction, it's insight. Every time you fall short, life is trying to teach you something that success never could. Success feels good, but it rarely pushes you to grow. Failure, though, failure gets your attention. It humbles you, it challenges you, it strips away your pride and puts you in the lab of life, where real champions are developed. See, when you fail, you're not being punished, you're being prepared. You're not being rejected, you're being redirected. The problem is, we take failure personally. We let it get inside our head and whisper lies like you're not good enough, or you'll never make it. But you gotta shut those voices down. You gotta remind yourself that failure isn't who you are, it's simply where you are in the process. It's not the end of your story, it's a powerful chapter of your growth. The greatest innovators, the most successful people on this planet, they all failed. Repeatedly, relentlessly. They failed bigger and harder than most people ever dared to try, but they didn't let it define them. They used every mistake, every rejection, every wrong turn as fuel to come back stronger. They analyzed the feedback. They studied the struggle, they learned, and because of that learning, they evolved into something greater. Failure reveals your weaknesses so you can strengthen them. It exposes your blind spots so you can address them. It breaks down your ego so you can rebuild your foundation. Every setback carries a seed of wisdom that success can't offer, but you've got to be willing to dig for it. You've got to be humble enough to ask, what is this teaching me? What can I do better? You've got to stop running from failure and start recognizing it for what it is, a critical part of the process. When you start seeing failure as feedback, everything changes. You stop fearing it. You stop avoiding risk. You stop holding back. You start stepping into your purpose with courage, with resilience, with determination. You embrace the trial because you understand the treasure it brings. You stop measuring yourself by your mistakes and start measuring yourself by your movement, your mindset, your mission. Champions are built in the dark moments. When the lights are off, when no one's watching, when the applause is gone and it's just you and your reflection, that's where greatness is born. Not on the stage, not on social media, not in front of a cheering crowd. The real work happens in silence, in struggle, in solitude. It's in the early mornings when you don't feel like getting up. It's in the late nights when your body's aching, your heart is heavy, and quitting feels like the easier option. But champions don't quit, they commit. They keep going when motivation fades and discipline is all that's left. You see, anybody can shine when everything's going right. But the real test is who you become when everything's falling apart. The world doesn't see the sweat in the gym, the tears in the journal, the battles in your mind. They don't see the hours you put in after everyone else clocked out. They don't see the sacrifices you made, missing parties, skipping comfort, turning down distractions because your dream meant more to you than your downtime. That's what separates winners from wishers. Champions use the dark moments to fuel their fire. When life gets hard, they don't shrink, they sharpen. When doors close, they find windows. When they get knocked down, they rise with more grit, more grind, more hunger. They understand that pain is part of the process, that storms don't come to destroy them, they come to shape them. They know that every struggle is a setup, every loss is a lesson, and every delay is preparing them for something greater. There are people who only perform when the spotlight's on, but champions perform when no one is clapping. They show up when there's no praise, no paycheck, no promise of success, just the belief that their effort matters. That's the mindset that builds legends. That's the spirit that rewrites history. When the world forgets you, when they count you out, when they overlook your potential, that's your moment. That's your training ground. That's your proving point, because if you can stay disciplined in the dark, you'll be unstoppable in the light. If you can stay faithful when no one believes in you, you'll be ready when the opportunity finally comes knocking. The dark moments don't break you, they build the version of you that destiny is waiting for. You can't lose if you don't quit. Let that sink in. You can fall 1,000 times, but the only way you truly lose is if you decide to stay down. You might get knocked back, delayed, discouraged, but if you get back up, if you keep moving, if you keep believing, you are still in the fight. People think success is about talent or luck or timing. No, it's about perseverance. It's about grit. It's about refusing to let failure have the final word in your story. As long as you're still trying, you're still winning. As long as you're still breathing, you still have a chance to change the game. You see, quitting is easy. Anyone can do that. But pushing forward when you're tired, when you're doubting yourself, when everything feels stacked against you, that's where champions are separated from spectators. Every single person who made it to the top has scars. They've failed, they've fallen, they've faced fear and rejection and embarrassment, but they didn't let it stop them. They didn't surrender. They made a choice, a daily choice, to keep showing up, to keep growing, to keep believing that breakthrough was on the other side of breakdown. The world will try to convince you to quit. People will project their fears onto you. They'll say, "It's too late. You're not ready. You're not the right one." But it's not their dream, it's yours. And if it matters to you, you've got to be willing to fight for it long after the excitement is gone. You've got to be willing to press forward when nothing is working, when the doors aren't opening, when the results don't match the effort. That's the moment where most people give up. But that's exactly the moment where you've got to dig deeper. Because there's a version of you on the other side of that resistance. A stronger you, a wiser you, a more powerful, more focused, more relentless version of you, and the only thing standing between where you are and where you're destined to be is your decision to keep going. Not to be perfect, not to always get it right, but to never give up on yourself. Because as long as you don't quit, you haven't lost. As long as you keep getting back up, the game isn't over. You're still in control of the outcome. Pain is the price of progress. Growth doesn't come wrapped in comfort, it comes through resistance, through struggle, through moments that stretch you beyond what you thought you could handle. The pain you're feeling right now, whether it's physical, emotional, or mental, is not punishment, it's proof. Proof that you're pushing, proof that you're evolving, proof that you're not standing still. You can't expect to transform and stay the same. You can't expect to reach new heights without going through something that shakes your foundation. That discomfort you feel, that's life chiseling away the weakness, carving out the version of you that's capable of handling greatness. We've been sold this lie that if it's painful, it must be wrong, but pain is often the very path to purpose. You think champions don't hurt. You think high achievers don't cry when no one's looking. You think leaders never feel like giving up. They do, but they've learned to embrace the pain instead of run from it, because they know the greater the calling, the greater the cost. They know you don't build strength in the easy seasons, you build it in the grind. In the tears, in the quiet moments where your faith is tested and your endurance is all you have left. Pain is what teaches you discipline. It's what separates the dreamers from the doers. It sharpens your focus. It humbles your ego. It forces you to dig deeper than motivation, to reach into your why, to move forward not because it feels good, but because you've committed to the journey. And every time you push through pain, you prove to yourself that you're stronger than you thought. You start to realize that what once broke you now builds you, that what once scared you now shapes you. The most powerful breakthroughs often come after your biggest breakdowns. The storm you're in isn't there to drown you, it's there to reveal how bad you want it. Are you willing to hurt for it? Are you willing to sacrifice, to endure, to bleed a little for what sets your soul on fire? Because that's what it takes. Growth isn't gentle. It doesn't ask for permission. It shows up with fire, with friction, with pressure, and only those who lean into it come out stronger. Your comeback is always greater than the setback. The world may have seen you fall, seen you fail, seen you break, but what they haven't seen yet is the version of you that's rising from the ashes, the version of you that's stronger because of the struggle, wiser because of the wounds, hungrier because of the hurt. See, people love to count you out when you're down. They whisper, they doubt, they walk away. But what they don't realize is that setbacks aren't signs of defeat. They're setups for a stronger return. Every great comeback in history was fueled by adversity. Look at the legends, the icons, the game changers. None of them had smooth roads. They were knocked down, criticized, overlooked, underestimated. But they didn't stay in the valley. They used that pain, that frustration, that rejection as rocket fuel. They understood that the comeback is not about impressing others, it's about redeeming yourself. It's about proving to yourself that the fight in you is greater than the forces against you. Setbacks have a way of revealing who you are at your core. When everything is stripped away, the support, the applause, the progress, you're left with your character, your grit, your fire. And if you can rise in the face of defeat, if you can take the hit and still move forward, you become unstoppable. Because after you've been broken and rebuilt yourself, there's a confidence that can't be shaken, a power that can't be faked, a resilience that no success story can skip. The pain of the setback creates space for the power of the comeback. You don't come back the same, you come back better. You come back with clarity, with vision, with a deeper hunger to become who you were born to be. And while others may remember the fall, what they'll never forget is how you rose, because comebacks aren't quiet. They speak loud through action, through discipline, through consistency, through that unbreakable decision that says, I'm not done, I'm just getting started. The setback was the test, the comeback is the testimony. It's the proof that pressure creates diamonds, that rejection builds resilience, that loss awakens legacy, and once you've been through the fire and made it out, there's nothing left that can stop you. You've already faced the worst, now it's time to show the world your best. Rewrite the narrative, own the journey. Too many people let failure write their story. They let disappointment become their identity. One rejection, one mistake, one tough season, and suddenly they believe that's all they are. But you are not your lowest moment. You are not your worst decision. You are not the name someone else gave you. You have the power to take the pen back and rewrite what your life is going to mean. You have the authority to say, this isn't how my story ends, because every day you wake up, you've got a blank page. And what you choose to write on it, that's what separates regret from redemption. Owning your journey means taking full responsibility, not blaming the past, not waiting for a rescue, not making excuses. It means standing in the middle of your mess and saying, yes, I've been through it. Yes, I've failed. Yes, I've made mistakes. But I'm still here, and I'm not done writing. That mindset, that level of ownership is what transforms pain into purpose. It's what takes your life from being something that happened to you to something you're creating on purpose. You don't need anyone's permission to change the direction of your story. You just need the courage to take the next step, the discipline to keep turning the page, and the belief that your future can still be bigger than your past. You've got to break free from the labels people tried to stick on you. They called you a quitter, a failure, a disappointment, but that's not who you are. That's who you were in a moment, a chapter, not the whole book. You're still evolving, you're still learning. You're still capable of becoming everything you were created to be. But it starts when you decide to rewrite the narrative, to stop replaying the highlight reel of your pain and start building a new vision, one where your strength leads the story, one where your fight becomes your fuel. When you own your journey, the detours don't derail you, they develop you. The wounds don't weaken you, they wake you up, and the failures, they don't finish you, they form you. Because every struggle, every setback, every moment you thought would break you is actually shaping the most powerful version of you. And when you finally realize that, you stop being ashamed of your past and start using it as the foundation for your future.